Alright guys, today we're just gonna we're in the big woods. We're gonna follow this transition all the way up. As you can see, it's pines to hardwoods. Just follow this transition all the way around until we start seeing sign. And any points or bowls, there should be beds in, so stay tuned. Alright guys, we got a little creek actually along a transition line. There's a creek coming into one, so you always look on the points of these creeks. Now we're off this point. Just, like I said, here comes the rubs. This is where it'll start, and there's probably a few beds in here in this thick stuff. There's a rub here, not a bad rub either. And there's a rub right here, which that's not a bad rub. That's about that's thigh high, so it's probably 2.5-year-old buck. Right along transition. Now I'm heading my way out to this tip along this tranny line, and I came in the middle here to walk the middle up to the tip of these ponds. And you gotta keep in mind that any beds inside here, 20, 30 yards, 40, 50 yards inside here, are going to be doe bedding, and most likely little bucks. The big bucks are going to be out on the tips, on each side. If it's blowing one way, he'll lay on the bed on the one side. If it's blowing the other way, he'll bed on the other side. If it's blowing right down the middle, he'll bed right on the middle of it. So keep that in mind, guys. Following the main trail through the middle of this, right out to the tip. Yeah, there's on this point, there's a bed there. This looks like doe bedding in here, though. Does and little bucks. There's trails coming all through here. There's a nice bed there. Bed right there. You see the outline of the deer. There's another bed over there. Yep, that means that's doe bedding. When it's that close together and there's beds impressed in the ground that almost circle around everywhere, that's does, because does will bed out in the open because they are not solitary. They hang out to each other, and those will watch out for each other. So that's why you'll find, if you ever find beds, a bunch of beds, right, like in a little circle, you'll see big beds, little beds. That's doe bedding, and they'll bed out in hollies, under hollies, and have eyes looking in every way. That's how they bed. So let's keep going. Walking this tranny, and that's a nice rub. At the middle of the rub is waist high. That's my waist right there. You got to measure it. If it's the middle of the rub is knee high or lower, it's probably 1.5 years, maybe a 2.5. But up this way, you get up to the waist and higher, middle of the rub, you're getting into 3.5, 4.5. Higher it goes, the older it goes. It's not the roundness of the tree, it's the height of the rub. Getting into this bowl here, and there's rubs all through it. It looks like it's rubbed every single year. Right there, you can see that's crazy. That's a cool rub. And then there, it's hit there. Ancestral rub, but it's been rubbed every year. That is a cool rub. And then it's this, and he's got a trail going right up this line, and right up this line here, right up this transition line. You can see in the canopy the transition, how it goes from dark to light. Hardwoods to pines. This is cruising area. And down in this bowl, in that thick crap, they're going to bed in there. So this is the places you got to scout. You got to find these beds. Bed there, right up against that tree, and it's against this. You can't get in here. It's impenetrable, and they bed all around it. This is a soft transition of briar patch. This is what you really got to look for in the excuse me, in the big woods. These you know, these real thick thickets is where they're going to bed around. Up, you know, on the points and the bowls of the other transitions. It's a transition inside a transition is where you got to look. See how it's clear here? And you can't even walk in there. They'll bed right on the edges of it or just inside of it. So that's where you got to look, man. And there's a beautiful bed. Wow, that's pretty. On top of that hill right there, under that tree. That's pretty cool. It's all matted down. You can tell the outline of the deer this way. It's a northwest wind, so he's facing that way. So, and there's another bed down in there. They like to be elevated when they're laying. Keep that in mind. These little hills is what I'm talking about. Little hills in the woods. Just a slight 2-3 feet, that's all it takes along a transition, and they have an advantage to look. It's like us being in a tree stand up high. We have an advantage to look and see. The deer use their eyes more than you think. He's got a bed right here somewhere. There's another nice rub there. And that tree, wow, man, look at that size of that tree. Whew. Rubbed every year. The size of this one. That's my boot. It's bigger than my leg. It's a monster. Big buck. Now this here is undoubtedly, I mean, that's a big buck. Height don't matter, but a deer getting their horns around this, that's a hell of a spread. So what I was saying earlier about height, yeah, that's really, really important. But you get a tree like that, that's a big boy. That's a very big 3.5-year-old or older buck, and it's at least past his ears, I would think. So 3.5's usually past his ears. Keep that in mind. I'm sure that's one of his beds. Wind coming out of the west. That's one of his beds. Good bed. I just marked that. This bed. All right, here we are. I walked the transition of these fingers of pines going out in the hardwood, up, and then all the way back, and then up, and then all the way back. There's 2 or 3 of them. Well, them big rubs were over there about 100 yards, and the deer, they're not gonna, when they go where they want to go, they're not gonna you know, walk the whole transition line. They're gonna cut these fingers in the middle. So I got on this big one's rub line. So here's an old rub. Here's another one he's been hitting on right here. You can see where he's hitting it. This is old rubs, but they do it every year. Use the same trees pretty much. There's a trail going in there. I think he's skirting this edge of these pines and cruising, you know, wherever he's going to. I think he's bedding down in this. There's a pocket of swamp down in here, so we're going to go in this down in here. The transition will turn this way a little bit, and then there's a big pocket of swamp down in there where it looks like it gets wet and real thick and nasty. So is exactly where they want to bed at. So we're going to go walk this and see if we can find his bedding area. So we're on a good track. Stay tuned. Pretty sure he's using this hill a little bit. This bed here, one side, and there's bed over there in that little cubby of briars. Then there's a bed over there on top of that. Like I said earlier, these beds are up on hills, so they have a height advantage to see. And like I said before, they love to use their eyes, so you gotta sneak in here nice and quiet, man, when you're hunting these bucks, these buck beds. Show you this little buck rub, a little buck bed right off this, right underneath this holly here. Watching this trail come down here, watching both ends, right on this point. This is the point of these small pines, saplings, and amongst mature pines. Just a little bed under a holly tree. It's pretty neat. Actually, there's a bed there too. Show you that deer bed up in there underneath that holly. Right up against it. I can't even get in there. You gotta get in from the other side. That's a nice bed, man. Good buck bed. Overhanging branches in the shade. Bucks do not like to lay in the shade or in the sun. They do not like to bed in the sun. So, you guys, we're about wrapping it up for today. Got to get home and do some stuff. So, I'm pretty excited on them big rubs where we found it. Walked that whole bedding area, found a few beds. So, should do well, or should see something. Throw 3-4 sits at it next year and see what happens. But tune in next time. Another day of scouting. I'm gonna try to do some meadow scouting one of these days. And then one day next week I'm gonna scout a farm, and I'll film that too. So guys, I'm on all social media networks, so follow me and tune in next time. Subscribe and like to the Buck Psych. Buck Psych out.